Lahat ng tawanan, lahat ng iyong all-time hits. Ang tanging huntahan ng Masang Lamaw. Number 1 sa Mega Manila. Nationwide pa! Broadcasting from TGON, TVH Group of Networks. Dito lang sa inyong iisang himpilan. Cool FM. You are listening to Cool FM, live from Cool Studios. This is Cool News at 4.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Cool News at 4. I'm Asking. Former Senator Antonio Guterres report filed a complaint for plunder against former President Rodrigo Duterte and Senator Bongo before the Department of Justice DOJ on Friday. Journalists alleged that Duterte and Go facilitated corrupt practices, specifically the awarding of more than 100 government contracts to companies owned by Go's father and brother worth at least 6.6 billion pesos. All the elements of plunder are clearly present in this case. Mr. Bongo, in conspiracy with Mr. Duterte, used his position, authority, and influence to corner billions worth of government projects in favor of his father and brother, thus unduly enriching himself and the members of his immediate family. The evidence presented in the complaint is compelling and warrants a plunder charge, journalists said. Aside from plunder, both Duterte and Go were also accused of violating Republic Act No. 3019, the Anti-Grift and Corrupt Practices Act, and Republic Act No. 6713, the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. According to the complaint, from 2007 to 2018, Go's father and brother's companies allegedly received a total of 6.6 billion pesos worth of contracts despite lacking the required contractor's license to undertake large-scale projects. Inquiry.net has contacted the camps of former President Duterte and Go, but has yet to receive a response as of this posting. Flight and ground operations at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport were temporarily suspended because of a lightning red alert issued by the Manila International Airport Authority. The alert is effective as of 2:20 p.m., according to an advisory from MIAA on Friday. In a Facebook post, the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Service Administration PAGASA also issued a thunderstorm advisory in some parts of Luzon, which took effect at 2:13 p.m. PAGASA said moderate to heavy rain showers with lightning and strong winds are expected over Bulacan, Echa, Pampanga, Tarlac, Zambales, and Bataan within the next 2 hours. It added that the weather conditions are already felt in Metro Manila, Quezon, Batangas, Cavite, Rizal, and Laguna. PAGASA said this may persist for 2 hours and affect nearby areas. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. on Friday said several changes in the K-12 curriculum of the Department of Education DepEd are being considered to improve the employability of senior high school graduates. According to Marcos, the K-12 curriculum failed to increase the employability of SHS graduates when it was the ultimate goal for its implementation. Marcos noted during a chance interview in Sulu on Friday, "We did the K-12 because the years of training are being sought from our applicants and they say that here in the Philippines it is not enough because we only have 10 years. That was the reason we implemented so that our graduates are employable. But if we look at the result, their employability did not increase, did not improve, so we have to do something else," he added. Marcos said he and incoming Education Secretary Sonny Angara had talked about implementing some changes to the current K-12 curriculum shortly after the palace announced the senator's destination to the cabinet post. Among these changes, he said, were the possible introduction of mini-courses spanning from 3 months to a year to allow senior high school graduates to specialize in specific areas in a bid to attract employers. Marcos also said the government intends to coordinate with the private sector to determine and guarantee the supply of skilled workers needed in their respective industries. Marcos likewise disclosed that the DepEd is aiming to improve the quality of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects based on the results of international objective tests, which showed that the Philippines is lagging behind. We will also simplify the curriculum. We go back to make sure that everybody understands the basic, the president said. Marcos further revealed that he emphasized to Angara the importance of teachers' welfare to allow them to concentrate on actual teaching, as well as the need for them to be retrained due to the rapid development of technology. Because development is fast, especially in technology, that within 1 to 2 years it becomes obsolete. We need to teach them again. So that's what we will do. We will beef up that part of it, he said. Feeding programs in schools are also being planned to address malnutrition and stunning among Filipino students, Marcos added. And for the West Philippine Sea coverage, as President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has greenlighted plans to purchase multi-role fighter aircraft as part of the government's thrust to bolster external defense capabilities. However, according to Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief General Romel Brander Jr., there are no final decisions on details such as the type of MRF and how many would be purchased. There is still no final decision on what MRFs we are going to buy, but definitely the President has already approved the intention to buy MRFs, Brander said in a press conference briefing in Camp Ayukinaldo on Thursday. Last month, the Philippines and Sweden inked a key agreement for Manila's planned acquisition of MRF for the Philippine Air Force. The continuing effort to build up PAF's deterrence comes amid Beijing's aggressive actions in the West Philippine Sea, based on its assertion of sovereignty in the entire South China Sea, encroaching on Manila's exclusive economic zone. On Monday, PAF simulated the retaking of an enemy-occupied military base in the country, using all its main air assets held at the upgraded airstrip funded by the United States under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement at Basa Air Base, home of the Air Force fighter planes. PAF currently uses 1,000 of South Korean-built light combat aircraft (F-850s) after retiring its remaining fighters in 2005. We sold the capability of our F-850 jet fighters, but they are still not enough to protect our country, so we need to get more of these jet fighters and multi-role fighters, Browner said. The Philippine Coast Guard rescued a Chinese seafarer who lost his left arm off Kaluya and Taikyu. PCG rescued the Chinese national is an engineer of Hong Kong flag bulk carrier MV BBG Wing Shu. The incident occurred while the ship was about 20.69 nautical miles west of Semirara port at around 9 a.m. on Thursday. The 35-year-old second engineer said he was accidentally cut by a fan blade or metal, resulting in significant pain and requiring hospital treatment, the PCG said in a statement on Friday. On Thursday afternoon, the PCG deployed its BRP Kalanganman to a Rendezvous area, some 1.5 nautical miles off Nugas Island in Aniniwai, Antaikyu, and safely evacuated the patient at around 6 p.m. In contrast, a Filipino soldier who had a similar injury was met with an unsavory response from China Coast Guard. Last June 17, a CCG boat continued to ramp a Philippine Navy's boat while Navy personnel were applying a tourniquet on the right hand of the sailor who lost his tongue due to an earlier ramming incident during the resupply mission for the BRP Sierra Madre in Ayukin's second show, as shown by a video shared by the Armed Forces of the Philippines. The CCG actions during naval outpost resupply led to what AFP Chief General Romel Brander Jr. previously deemed as looting of 7 firearms and destruction of 2 Navy boats. Brander said China should pay 60 million pesos in damages. House of Representatives Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez has directed concerned committees to truly investigate rogue Philippine offshore gaming operators POGOs, the criminal activities surrounding it, and to identify those behind it. Romualdez on Friday said that his directive was in response to alarming reports of illegitimate POGOs being involved in crimes like human trafficking, money laundering, prostitution, rape, and even murder. This, the speaker said, underscores the government's commitment to curbing illegal POGOs and ensuring that regulations are implemented. We cannot allow these rogue POGO operators to persist in their illicit actions, Romualdez said in a statement. It is imperative that we identify and unmask the masterminds and protectors behind these operations so they can be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, he added. According to Romualdez, establishing the identity of people behind the POGOs would be important in seeking accountability. Establishing the identities of those responsible for protecting and facilitating these illegal operations and ensuring that they are held accountable is a priority, he said. ensuring the protection of local communities and individuals affected by the illegal activities of road poker operators is crucial, he added. Romeo Altes, last Wednesday, in an interview with Teleradio, said that he has no problem with allowing illegally operating pogos in the country, noting that the crackdown should be on the illegal ones. This speaker also warned that a total ban on pogos might only lead to businesses moving underground, which means the government can neither monitor these companies nor demand taxes from them. The University of the East is gaining jeers from netizens who frown on the school's parking policy that comes with an annual fee but not with a guaranteed space. A report from UE's official student publication, The Down, stated that the school proposes to charge a gate pass sticker fee of 1,000 pesos for vehicles that will use a parking slot and 500 pesos for vehicles that will only pick up or drop off students to and from the school. The car sticker will be accepted at UE's Manila and Caloocan campuses and valid for a year for the school year 2024 to 2025. However, UE's guidelines, which copy was attached to the Dawn's report, stipulate that having the gate pass sticker does not guarantee a parking space inside the campus. Parking slots are given on a first-come, first-served basis. Therefore, the gate pass sticker is not a guarantee that you will be given a parking slot, it said. In a Facebook post on Friday, UE said the implementation of the drop-off and pick-up sticker rule is being suspended, pending the result of a study regarding traffic concerns around its campus. Quite kindly be advised that the planned drop-off pick-up sticker, meanwhile, is suspended pending further review of the traffic flow on and around the campuses within the school year 2024 to 2025, UE wrote. In the same social media post, UE mentioned that due to the limited parking slots on campus, vehicles with an official UE parking sticker for school year 2024 to 2025 are not necessarily assured of a parking slot on a given day as parking is on a first-come, first-served basis. But the netizens roared in dismay over this policy. A social media user said, "You want the students and facility to pay a 1,000 pesos fee for a parking slot that is still not assured? How can you justify that? Or have you just found another way to capitalize on what should be the right of your stakeholders?" Another one added, "It's already paid for. They should count how many vehicles they can accommodate so they can cut off when it's low. What's that? You paid 1,000 but you're not sure whether you'll be able to park." Inquirer.net has reached out to UE for a comment on reactions to its parking rule, but has yet to receive a response as of Friday. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ordered the drafting of an executive order for the immediate implementation of nomad visas without tax incentives. The Private Sector Advisory Council for Tourism disclosed this information on Friday, following its recommendation for the issuance of the EO, which can be added once a related bill is passed. President Marcos supports this interim solution and has directed the Office of the Executive Secretary to draft the EO and select a pilot country for the initiative, PSAC Tourism said in a statement. According to PSAC Tourism official Lucio Tan III, issuing normal visas will attract long-term foreign visitors. "We need to issue normal visas quickly to attract long-stay tourists. Other countries like Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia are already benefiting from this approach," he said. PSAC Tourism also said it aims to expedite industry-specific training programs to equip individuals with the skills needed for immediate employment in tourism-related jobs as part of the government's efforts in further developing the tourism industry. 80% of our tourism workforce holds TESDA, or Technical Education and Skills Development Authority certifications. We should build on this by further increasing these certifications with the private sector identifying the specific skills required. Truly Invest Development Corp. President Joji Yap said. Commission on Higher Education Chair, or CHAD Chair, Prospero de Villa III, on the other hand, elaborated on the strategic approach to tourism and hospitality education. "We have numerous institutions offering 4-year degrees in tourism and hospitality management. By allowing top schools to run these programs, we assure quality and meet current needs. TESDA, a Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, certifications can now be credited towards these degrees, providing students with a flexible pathway," he explained. Marcos has set Efforts to improve skills of workers in the tourism industry should be coordinated with the private sector, which should guide us on the exact skills needed. President Ferdinand Bongbong R. Marcos Jr. said on Friday that he told incoming Education Secretary Senator Sonny Angara to include more subjects about Philippine history in the current education curriculum. Marcos made the pronouncement after he was asked what changes Angara would make in the current K-12 curriculum. The one thing I asked of him was to please teach our children Philippine history, because I have seen my children's workbooks and there's very little said about the history of the Philippines, said Marcos on the sidelines of an assistant distribution event in Sulu. And for me, that is so important, he added, explaining that history could help further shape the identity of Filipinos. The teaching of Philippine history stopped at grade 6 during the time of former Education Secretary Lero Nor Briones. It was replaced by the teaching of Asian history in grade 7, world history in grade 8, economics in grade 9, and contemporary issues in grade 10. The president also said that certain changes are being considered in the curriculum, including the introduction of mini courses, improving teachers' welfare, simplifying the curriculum, and going back to the basics. Such changes are being considered after Marcos himself admitted that the K-12 curriculum failed to boost the employability of high school graduates, the very reason it was implemented in the first place. If we look at the results, their employability did not increase or improve, so we have to do something else, said Marcos. Marcos said the government intends to coordinate with the private sector to determine and guarantee the supply of skilled workers needed in the respective industries. Furthermore, Marcos said the Department of Education would also improve the quality of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics based on the results of international objective tests, which notes the country needs to catch up. We will also simplify the curriculum. We go back to make sure that everybody understands the basic, he said. Regarding teachers' welfare, Marcos said he told Angara to ensure that the teachers can concentrate on actual teaching. He added that beef feeding programs are also being planned to address malnutrition and stunning among Filipino students. We will be right back for more headlines right here on koolNews. It is 73 minutes after 4. Welcome back. Four drug traffickers, including a woman who tried to smuggle shabu crystal meth into a detention facility in Quezon Province, were arrested on Thursday and Friday. The arrested suspects yielded more than 3.4 million pesos worth of shabu, Colonel Don Monte, Quezon Police Chief, said in a report Friday. Monte reported that anti-illegal drug operatives in Calagaluag town arrested at 1:39 a.m. Friday what alias Idlok, age of 42, after he sold shabu worth 5,000 pesos to a wholesale buyer in Barangay San Roque, Ibaba. The operatives confiscated from the suspect a sachet and a knot-tied plastic bag containing 105 grams of meth worth about 714,000 pesos in the dangerous drug sport validation. They are worth 2,142,000 pesos in the street market at 20,400 pesos per gram, said the report. Also seized was a motorcycle believed to have been used by the suspect, who is a resident of the town, in his illegal activities. Police tagged the suspect as a high-value individual in the local drug trade. In Tagkawayan town, policemen arrested Joven, age of 22, and Ryan, age of 39, in the drug sting in Barangay Santa Celia at around 11:45 p.m. on Thursday. The suspects, both rookies in the illegal drug business, had 8 sachets of meth weighing 25.89 grams worth 528,156 pesos in the street market. In Pagbilao town, one alias Charmaine was arrested around 2:30 p.m. on Thursday after being caught trying to smuggle shabu at the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology Jail in Barangay Talipan. When frisked, she was found to have a package wrapped in electrical tape inserted inside her private part. The package contained 38.77 grams with a street value of 790,908 pesos. The BJMP reported the incident to local police, who arrested the suspect, a resident of Lucena City. The Quezon police are investigating the source of the illegal drugs. The arrested suspects were detained and are facing a complaint of violating the Comprehensive Dangerous Acts of 2002. The Philippine side should face the consequences of its own action. These were the words of China's Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning after she was asked whether or not China would pay 60 million pesos to the Philippines following the June 17 incident in Ayungin Shoal, where Chinese personnel wounded a Filipino sailor and damaged the Philippines' naval equipment. Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief General Romel Bronner Jr. said he personally had written to Defense Secretary Gilberto Deodoro Jr. about the AFP's payment demand, asking if it could be forwarded to the Department of Foreign Affairs for them to reach out to their counterparts in China. China, however, did not categorically answer whether it would pay or not. Mao only insisted on China's claim to Ayungin Shoal, alleging that the Philippines was conducting illegal resupply missions to the BRP Sierra Madre. The Philippine vessels were carrying out an illegal resupply mission which violated China's territorial waters and staging a provocation when stopped by China Coast Guard, who acted lawfully and rightfully to defend China's sovereignty, Mao said in a regular press briefing on Thursday after she was asked to comment on the AFP's demand. China's continued aggression in Philippine waters is born out of a sweeping claim over most of the South China Sea, including the West Philippine Sea. It, however, has long been dismissed by an arbitral tribunal in a historic ruling. Ayungin Shoal sits well within Philippine territory. Ayungin Shoal is 423.30 nautical miles from the Paracels and 617.39 nautical miles from the Chinese mainland, clearly beyond the 200 nautical miles maximum maritime entitlement for an exclusive economic zone under United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, the DFA earlier said. China cannot therefore lawfully exercise sovereignty over it added. A trade association of exporters is calling on the government to include economic issues aside from the territorial dispute in the South China Sea in the bilateral talks with Beijing, highlighting it as an important aspect in the relations between the two countries. Robert Yang, president of the Foreign Buyers Association of the Philippines, said that commerce, business, and trade components must also be on the table for the continuity of the mutual economic benefit of both countries. The latest bilateral talk did not touch on economic issues. They forgot the economic side of it, Yang said in a phone interview with the Inquirer. Yang, whose trade group are buyers and exporters of manufacture handicrafts and textile products, said that there are concerns that an all-out conflict with China would jeopardize their supply environment, to say the least. Of the 1 billion pesos worth of garment goods that they export annually, Yang said that about half of those are made with cloth and fabric sourced from China. Aside from this, Yang also cited that the Philippines is China's 24th largest partner, with the latest annual bilateral trade reaching $71.9 billion. On the Philippine side, the FOBAF official said that China is the country's second biggest trade partner with approximately $50 billion import and export revenues. Manila and Beijing on Tuesday held discussions in an effort to de-escalate rising tensions due to the territorial dispute in the South China Sea following the worst confrontation between the two sides on June 17. Photos and videos of the said confrontation showed knife and axe-wielding Chinese Coast Guard personnel surrounding a Philippine Navy resupply mission to the Ayungin Shoal, Second Terminal Shoal. The Chinese personnel boarded and damaged the Philippines' own rubber boats, taking some firearms and causing one Filipino sailor to lose a top as a result of a high-speed ramming. The Philippines Department of Foreign Affairs, on the same day of their meeting with their Chinese counterparts, said that both sides affirmed their commitment to de-escalate tensions without prejudice to the respective positions. The government agency also said there was substantial progress on developing measures to manage the situation in the area. The two sides agreed to continue discussions on maritime cooperation between their respective Coast Guard authorities, including the possible resumption of the Joint Coast Guard Committee, the DFA said in a statement. And now for the business headlines. The Philippines may have a hard time reaching the upper half of its 6% to 7% growth target amid a slow recovery in household spending, according to BMI's research. In a report on Thursday, the TVH Group unit said risk to our growth outlook hinges largely on the recovery in private consumption. In our current forecast, we have taken April's robust import growth figures to indicate early signs of a rebound in household spending. It noted a sharp increase in imports in April, indicating early signs of recovery in demand, especially when seen through the lens of the country's household spending. Regionalized imports in March bounced back by 12.6% year-on-year to $10.98 billion in April, after declining by 17.7% in February, making it the highest level in 5 months. But if May and June data disappoint, this anticipated recovery in private consumption will not materialize, the Fitch unit said. Household spending, which accounts for more than 70% of economic output, grew by 4.6% in the first quarter, the slowest after the pandemic. Coupled with weak public spending, the country's economic output, as measured by the gross domestic product (GDP), expanded by 5.7% during the period. BMI said the country would also have to hurdle a high-interest environment, which has crimped investments to achieve its growth targets. The Monetary Board earlier hinted it may cut rates by 25 basis points as early as August and another 25 basis points in the last quarter of the year. The country's key rate is still at a 17-year high of 6.5%. Canada's Deputy Prime Minister on Thursday defended a digital tax service that was quietly rolled out last week, despite pushback from business groups and threats of U.S. reprisals. The 3% tax on large or multinational companies such as Alphabet, Amazon, and Meta that provide digital service to Canadians was forecast in the 2024 federal budget to bring in 5.9 billion Canadian dollars, or 4.2 billion US dollars over 5 years. It was enacted by an order in council on June 28. Speaking publicly about it for the first time since the rollout, Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland said Canada was following the lead of other G7 nations such as Britain, France, and Italy. Ottawa had proposed the tax in 2019 but held off implementing it to allow for the conclusion of talks on a global treaty on taxing multinationals. Those negotiations dragged on without a deal, and it's simply not reasonable, not fair for Canada to indefinitely put our own measures on hold, Freeland said. Canada's preference is, and always has been, a multilateral solution on the digital service tax, she added, noting that bilateral talks with Washington continue. The U.S. Computer and Communications Industry Association, which represents big tech companies like Amazon, Apple, and Uber, and 10 other trade associations last month, called on President Joe Biden to challenge the burdensome and discriminatory tax under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement. In a letter to Biden, they warned that the tax would disproportionately hit U.S. companies and would have a chilling effect on U.S. investment in Canada. They also lamented as unprecedented Ottawa, making it retroactive to 2022. U.S. Ambassador to Canada David Cohen was quoted by public broadcaster CBC as saying the United States is open to using all available tools to address those concerns. Nigeria's president has proposed a $1.3 billion package to combat soaring prices and food insecurity as the country battles its worst economic crisis in a generation, the finance minister said on Thursday. The 2 trillion naira package is still only a plan as Bola Ahmed Tinubu faces pressure to ease the burden of economic reforms he brought in after becoming president last year. Tinubu ended a fuel subsidy and currency controls, leading to a tripling of petrol prices and a spike in living costs as the naira has slid sharply against the dollar. The measures have hit people hard, and many poor Nigerians had had to skip meals, while in the north, the economic crisis has forced people to eat poor grade rice used as fish food. Finance Minister Adun has been appointed the chairman of the new council. The president set up to help together for his consideration a 2 trillion naira package. Adun said it included around $229 million towards health and social welfare and roughly $328 million for agriculture and food security. The number one priority that Mr. President focused on is food production, food security, nutrition security, Adun said in a statement. The finance minister insisted the government will be able to fund the package, which he said will be implemented over 6 months. Okay, let's continue. He told AFP the funding would not impose any additional burden and was set to come partly from higher oil revenues as well as unloaded budget reserves and ongoing support from the World Bank. The intervention measures are a realistic package targeted at specific areas of the economy which will address issues requiring immediate attention, he said. The minister also outlined other proposed measures and targets such as increasing the country's limited power supply, reducing losses in the oil sector, and boosting production. Nigeria, an OPEC member, has struggled to increase its oil production due to oil theft and foreign ministries shifting to offshore operations. Inflation hit record levels at 33.95% in May, with food inflation more than 40.6%, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Government officials acknowledge the reforms have created hardship for Nigerians, but they have repeatedly called for patience to allow the measures time to work. Hundreds of workers, teachers, and students protested in Ecuador's capital on Thursday against fuel price rises ordered by President Daniel Noboa in a bid to save government money spent on subsidies. Chanting "Out Noboa Out" and holding signs reading "Gasoline goes up, everything goes up," the demonstrators marched to the presidential headquarters in Quito, which was guarded by police and military personnel. In June, Ecuador's government announced a nearly 11% hike in fuel prices from the end of the month, a risky move in a country where previous such steps were met with violent protests. The Unitary Workers Front, which organized the rally, called for the repeal of the price hike, which its leader Jose Villavicencio told AFP would cause an increase in prices of basic products. Some protesters burned tires and life-size photos of Noboa. Police reported no arrest, though AFP saw officers used tear gas to disperse a group. The government says the increase in prices will help it save $644 million in fuel subsidies, with that money used to finance a fight against drug trafficking and organized crime. Noboa has said he expects to raise another $1.3 billion annually with a VAT increase from 12% to 15% next year. Still to come, Samsung Electronics forecasts major second quarter profit jump. And in entertainment headlines, Lauren Yogi issues appeal to respect BD's personal space, Taurin Sila. We have a lot of national and international headlines coming up right here on koolNews. It is now 41 minutes after 4.
Check ng right med. If symptoms persist, consult your doctor.
Welcome back. The Office of the Solicitor General has filed a petition to cancel the birth certificate of suspended Bambang Tarlac Mayor Alice Guo. Solicitor General Bernardo Guarava said they sought to cancel Guo's birth certificate on the ground, among others, of failure to comply with the legal requirements for late registration. During a recent Senate hearing, the Philippine Statistics Authority said Guo's late birth registration was applied on November 22, 2005, when she was already a teenager. The entries in her birth certificate, however, are false. Guerrava said the petition for cancellation of Guo's birth certificate will lay the groundwork for the subsequent filing of a petition for quo warranto. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said the government is working to immediately commence the implementation of the 100 million peso Jolo Airport Development Project in Sulu. During the distribution of aid to farmers and fisherfolk in Bacticol Town, Marcos said, "We are currently drafting all the requirements to start this project, and we have 100 million pesos ready to start this project," said Marcos in his speech. The Jolo Airport Development Project includes the construction of the passenger terminal building, perimeter fence, administration building, relocation and construction of fire station building, site augmentation for its runway extension, and correction of runway strip width. The processing of the memorandum of agreement with the provincial government for the project's implementation is ongoing. Marcos likewise said in a speech in Paticol that the Philippines National Police has already intensified maritime patrols through the Sulu Maritime Police Station to address illegal fishing. He urged the Sulu local government to support the government's drive for the safety of fishermen. During the distribution event, the national government provided a total of 10 million pesos worth of assistance to farmers and fisherfolk affected by dry spell in the province due to the El Nino phenomenon. Also, the Department of Social Welfare and Development distributed 10,000 pesos to at least 5,000 beneficiaries, while the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Agrarian Reform distributed farm equipment. And now for the business headlines. Samsung Electronics said Friday it expects second quarter operating profits to rise more than 15-fold on year as chip prices bounce back and demand for generative AI continues to grow. The firm is the flagship subsidiary of South Korean giant Samsung Group, by far the largest of the family-controlled conglomerates that dominate business in Asia's fourth largest economy. The world's largest memory chip maker said in a regulatory filing that its April to June operating profits were expected to rise to 10.4 trillion won or $7.44 billion, up 1,452.2% from 670 billion won a year earlier. The expectation exceeded the average estimate by 25.8%, according to South Korea's Yonhap News Agency, which referenced its financial data firm. Sales, meanwhile, are expected to rise 23.3% to 74 trillion won, Samsung said. Semiconductors are the lifeblood of the global economy, used in everything from kitchen appliances and mobile phones to cars and weapons. And demand for the advanced chips that power AI systems has skyrocketed thanks to the success of ChatGPT and other generative AI products. The development of AI has driven the demand for high-capacity SSDs, Taipei-based research firm TrendForce analyst Avril Wu said, referring to a new generation of storage devices used in computers. Due to Samsung's ability to produce higher layer, non-volatile storage that does not require power to retain data, the firm is expected to be one of the main beneficiaries, she told AFP. Semiconductors are South Korea's leading export and hit $11.7 billion in March, their highest level in almost 2 years, accounting for a fifth of South Korea's total exports, according to figures released by the trade industry. The United States in April announced grants of up to $6.4 billion to Samsung to produce cutting-edge chips in Texas. That same month, industry tracker International Data Corporation said Samsung regained its position as the top smartphone seller, whistling back the lead from Apple. Samsung is set to unveil its latest flagship foldable phones equipped with AI features along with a range of accessories including a new health monitoring smart ring on July 10 in Paris. The tech giant should see a greater uptick going into the second half of this year, also driven by its mobile experience division, which will benefit from premiumization trend of smartphones in its key markets, Neil Shah, research vice president at Counterpoint Research told AFP. Meanwhile, Samsung's large reported net cash position continues to support its credit quality. Gloria T. Suen, vice president and senior credit officer at Moody's Ratings, said. Samsung is expected to release its final earnings report at the end of this month. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said on Thursday he was expecting about $10.5 billion in financial aid in the coming years once the country wraps up negotiations with international institutions. Africa's second most populous nation, battered in recent years by several armed conflicts, the COVID-19 pandemic, and climate shocks, has been engaged in drawn-out talks seeking to secure a support program from the International Monetary Fund. There has been speculation that Ethiopia may have to devalue its currency, the birr, as a condition of IMF aid. We have been negotiating with the IMF and World Bank on a wide range of issues, Abiy said in an address to Parliament, adding that both Ethiopia and the IMF are stubborn. Several of our proposals were finally accepted, he said. When this process comes to a successful conclusion and the reform is approved, we will receive $10.5 billion in the coming years. The IMF had no immediate response to AFP's request for comment on Abiy's remarks. According to a source close to the matter, the program currently being negotiated with the IMF concerns around $3.5 billion in financial assistance, and any agreement could result in the release of an equivalent amount from the World Bank. Ethiopia has about $28 billion of external debt and is also grappling with sky-high inflation and a shortage of foreign currency reserves. The landlocked country's credit rating was downgraded to a partial default in December by international agency Fitch after it missed a $33 million coupon payment on a Eurobond. The two-year conflict in the northern Tigray region, which ended in November 2022, led to the suspension of numerous development aid programs and budget assistance. When he took office in 2018, Abiy pledged to embark on reforms of Ethiopia's close and state-dominated economy, but little has changed since then. The three parties in Germany's ruling coalition struck an agreement Friday on the 2025 budget after weeks of tough talks that pushed Chancellor Olaf Scholz's government to the brink of collapse. Scholz's center-left Social Democrats and their partners, the Greens and the pro-business FDP, reached a deal after a final round of haggling that started Thursday, a source close to the coalition said. The government has faced repeated rows since taking office in 2021, but analysts fear that the budget crisis, with supporters of austerity clashing with those wanting more spending, could have been the final straw. There was relief among coalition lawmakers that the coalition had weathered the crisis intact. I think it would have been completely irresponsible in view of the world situation if the government had fallen apart now, said Anton of Ritter, a Green Party lawmaker and chairman of the German Parliament's European Affairs Committee. Germany has a great responsibility towards Europe, he added. Pressures had increased to reach a deal and avoid the coalition's collapse after the governing parties took a hit in European Parliament elections last month, with the far-right AfD party surging to a record result. Central to the budget roll were demands from Finance Minister Christine Lindner, a fiscal hawk from the FDP, of close to 30 billion euros or $32 billion in savings, a proposal balked at by the Greens and SPD. And now for the entertainment showbiz headlines, Star Magic head Lauren the Yogi appealed to fans to respect Beanie's privacy and personal space after members Malloy and Aya experienced disturbing moments while they were out to enjoy their free time after highlighting their recent 3-day sold-out concert. In the TikTok video posted by a fan, Malloy was seen apparently in discomfort as she got mobbed by fans while dining out with her family in a restaurant in La Marie, Bandangas, turning the moment into a meet and greet as fans swamped their table. In another video that went viral, a man asserted himself too close to Arya at a bar in Cebu, and the singer was shown to be shocked and uneasy by how she was approached. Both videos sparked outrage and concern from Beanie fans called Blooms as well as other netizens. I was able to see some very disturbing videos of some of our members who didn't seem to enjoy their break from the very stressful 3-night concert. They went to public places because they wanted to unwind and spend some time with their families, but unfortunately, they experienced something troubling, said Yogi in a video statement posted on X, formerly Twitter, on Thursday night, July 4. The director asserted that the ghosts are also human and need personal space and privacy. I am feeling personally as part of the Beanie team when our members spending their personal time, especially with their friends and friends, to please also show respect to their privacy and personal space. Taro rin po sila. They are humans too. They also need to socialize with other people, he stressed. Yogi affirmed that they want to give the members a semblance of regular life, especially given their hectic schedule and without the threat of others crossing their personal boundaries. If possible, let's give them a chance to enjoy it without other people stepping beyond the boundaries. I am appealing, especially for Ayla. That experience was really very disturbing. This is really a violation of the Safe Space Act for Women. This behavior can constitute sexual harassment in public space, explained the director. Meanwhile, AJ Fernan, the guy who improperly approached Aya at the bar, posted an apology on social media to claim that he was not trying to kiss the singer and that he only got too close to her to tell her she's pretty because of the loud music in the bar. As of this writing, fans are making an appeal on X, formerly Twitter, for Beanie's management to take legal action against Fernan and his fans who are seemingly trying to make fun of the situation with the comments they left on the guy's apology post. The hashtags Kasuhan si AJ Fernan and Ituloy ang kaso are currently trending on X Twitter. And that is it for Cool News at 4. As always, if you can send a news tip to us at tvh.philippines.news@gmail.com. And we will be back with more headlines later with Cool News at 6 with DJ Sen and Asphere. Until then, I am Asphere. Good afternoon.